All right. So so this is our first first broadcast, live stream podcast, whatever you call it. My guest is actually from outside of the country. Right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the United States, it is we're in different time zones. It's 2:03 p.m. My guest Dan Bailey, who's with Delta Bravo Graphics. And go ahead and tell us what time it is over there and where you're at.
It is, almost 8:05, or beer o'clock, as I like to call it. We're good to go.
Right on. Want to give yourself a quick introduction, let people know who you are?
I've worked with you now for, I don't know, maybe it's probably about 4 years now, right?
2017?
Really? Is it that long? So 5 years. I do graphic design. I'm a producer. I make beats. I engineer, mix, master. And I think, our relationship has had a bit of all of that at some point. I think maybe not engineering side, but beats and design work. So yeah, it's crazy really that we've worked together for so long. We've never met in person, but that's the beauty of the internet, right?
I was about to say the same thing. Yeah. So I'm sure people who follow me seen your name many times because I do my best to do the crediting. But yeah, for those watching, Dan Bailey is actually responsible for my branding, a lot of my artwork, basically my logo, like my main popular logo, which you see all over the screen. I still remember when I reached out to you about that, and then you just gave some fonts, some styles, an idea. Then I was like, "Yo, that's the one."
And that's what I like about you as well. It's like I can throw a few designs and ideas your way, and when you just know, and you're straight with it.
Right, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right on. I usually started off with the whole background story. Okay. We'll start here. Just, I'm sure there's different reasons why you started doing music. I know you play guitar. You're a Metallica fan, which I am too. So that's that's pretty dope. I guess just start from the beginning. How you got into graphic design, music, all that stuff.
I mean, going back to the design side of things, I studied graphic design at high school. I didn't really work hard at it though. I was into it because I've always loved the creative side of design rather than fine art. That's not really my bag. I'm not really good at drawing, to be honest. So digital art and graphic design side of things has always appealed to me. And I guess in recent years, I've just done it from my own music background, really. I mean, obviously, you know what it's like as an artist and you're releasing music, and particularly at a stage where I was releasing music with other people quite a lot. I needed to, yes, Craig, love you too, mate.
Yeah. Shout out to Suspicion King. He's been the first comment. Also, shout out to Greg for being the second comment. So, yeah. I appreciate you guys. If you do leave comments, you will be on the screen. We will engage with you as well. So, just for anyone who's new here, just throwing that out there. So, yeah. But, yeah, man, go ahead.
Yeah, so, I mean, I was sort of pushed into doing more of it myself because I was releasing my own music. I'm releasing music with other people. And I don't know, I think I've always had a good eye for it. Quite often, the stuff that I work on is very simple. I like very clean and simple work. And yeah, my hand was kind of forced to just start making my own artwork. But again, as this is titled, invest in your brand. When there's something that I can't do, there's something that I feel that I'm lacking in, I'll source elsewhere. As a producer, I go by the alias The Filthy Bar Kid. I went and had that logo designed by a guy out in the UK called Mr. Skillmatic. Shout out to him. He's a great graphic designer. I couldn't find the logo I wanted for myself. And, I sourced it out elsewhere. If you can't do it yourself, then, invest in your brand, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly how I am. When I realize there's something I'm not good at, find someone who is, and then request for a price.
That's
Like,
it.
how
It's
much?
got to be
You know what I
done.
mean? So yeah, it's definite. I think that's one of the biggest issues the music industry has is everybody wants to do everything, and I tell artists all the time is like, man, just be realistic with yourself because it can it can be actually kind of damaging when you're doing a lot of stuff that is just not in your field of expertise.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that, to be honest, I want to give a shout out to you because I think you being such a regular client of mine requesting design work, sometimes it's every month. The fact that you keep sending work my way has sort of driven me to want to perfect that craft a bit more. So
Yeah,
I've got to give a lot of gratitude to you. You've kept me on my toes, pushing and trying to improve, and that's what I'm always looking to do. To be honest, I don't like to get
yeah,
comfortable in what I do. I always like to try and learn new techniques, try
hmm,
different ideas, and I feel like we've got a similar wavelength when it comes to what it is you're looking for, and I think that's down to us working together for so many years now. But I just love bouncing ideas across, and yeah, as I say, thanks to you for keep sending me work. It keeps me busy,
yeah.
keeps me on my toes and perfecting the craft.
It's funny because sometimes I feel like I might be spit sending like when I because I'm pretty busy with the shows and from time to time the tours, singles, albums, and just things in general. Sometimes I feel like, damn, I can't throw too much shit at him at once. So it's just like, hey, I don't need this till Monday. But I have something else for you when that's finished, so that way it's not like a
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. So
Yeah,
'cause-
that's it. You always give me the heads up. Always give me the heads
yeah,
up. Like I've got this
because
for now, but I'm going to need this maybe later. This maybe later. So yeah, it's good.
yeah, I get overwhelmed sometimes, so I have to take things piece by piece. So I try to. I usually think most people are kind of the same way. So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how you get into. So you play guitar, and then obviously you make beats. Where did the music originally come from? Like what genre was the one that caught you first?
As a musician,
Yeah.
um, well, I always wanted to be a drummer. So
Oh, nice.
from a very young age, I used to annoy the shit out of my parents, tapping on the table, tapping on the
Hmm.
floor, tapping on my lap. You know what I mean, all the time, and I just begged and begged for a drum kit. So I thought I was getting one for my birthday one year, and I got a guitar instead. I mean, I'm not a spoiled little shit, but I was a bit like, I just wanted a drum kit. But I
Yeah.
didn't. I got a guitar, and I picked the guitar up. I think it was my 12th birthday, and I had no idea what I was doing with it, and started with the basics. I had 2 guitar lessons from a friend's dad, and then completely self-taught. And it was very much things like Green Day, Blink 182, all that kind of 4-chord, 3-chord wonder type pop punky stuff. And that was sort of what got me hooked into music, as sort of playing music. I feel like once I'd kind of mastered all that kind of genre in terms of playing it, the natural step up was the metal, and discovering
Yeah.
Metallica for the first time just like changed my life completely. It was like, wow, what is this? I think I heard there was a guy in my music class at school who's a very good friend of mine to this day. He's amazing on the guitar. He's a guitar teacher. Shout out to Shane Lally. He came into music class and played Seek and Destroy on the guitar. And me and some friends were already in a band. We were playing the sort of pop punk kind of stuff, Green Day, Blink, Offspring. And this guy Shane came in, played Seek and Destroy, and we all just looked at each other and was like, "Oh shit, we need to get this guy in our band. Like this is exactly the kind of shit we need to be doing right now."
Right.
And from then on, that was it. Then I was a full blown metalhead. Metallica, Pantera, Slayer,
Nice. Yeah.
are my 3 sort of main jams. I've never wanted to sort of consider myself a metalhead or a hip hop head. I don't like to categorize. I'm just a music head. I just love music, all
Hmm.
music. I grew up in the
Yeah.
house listening to, Motown, soul, uh, all kinds of stuff. Phil Collins, UB40, Meatloaf. Like my house was growing up was always filled with lots of different styles of music,
Hmm.
and I think that's sort of a lot. It inspires me a lot now in
Yeah.
making beats, in writing songs on guitar. I pull inspiration from everywhere. So I don't really pigeonhole myself as a massive hip hop head or a metal head. I'm just a lover of music, man. Just
Hmm.
completely.
That's kind of where I'm at. I went through my periods. Like I was a punk rock kid in high school to the extreme. Like I went to a jock high school, and so like there was probably there was like a small like selection of goth and metal kids and like punk kids and stuff like that. And I don't think really, but there was a group of break dancers. They were all like Vietnamese kids, and that's how I learned. That's where I first discovered break beats. And it's funny
Yeah,
because nowadays with hip hop, the direction it's gone. A lot of hip hop purists are very big on culture, and is like, are you involved in the culture, or you just do this music? And it's funny because I was surrounded by the essence of culture, and I was a punk rock kid. I was listening to like Wu Tang and Tribe Called Quest, and I was very much like into hip hop around that same time. I think punk just spoke to me the most. When you're a
yeah,
teenager, when you're a
yeah,
teenager.
yeah,
So, but kind of going to what you're saying about different music, like me growing up in the '90s, I it's funny, I kind of appreciate it now more than then. Like big on Nirvana and like Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam, and I listen to those more now. And looking back on how like unique their voices were, especially the singer of Pearl Jam, the singer of Alice in Chains, like they just had a one of a kind voice, and so that kind of inspires me now as I might experimenting more vocally, because you kind of want like your voice to kind of be remembered. Like
yeah. That's it.
someone hears you, they know it's you. They know it's
Yeah,
not like 10,000 other rappers or 10,000 other singers. You know what I mean? So that's something
exactly,
that's yeah. Um
exactly.
so what so you kind of started off kind of in the pop punk and then metal, and I guess you say like hip hop kind of came a little bit after that, or probably around the same time.
Yeah, I think. I mean, when I was around 12, 13, and I was playing the pop punk stuff, and then sort of into metal. I was fortunate enough to be sort of around at that beginning of the new metal era. Um, when like Limp Bizkit just burst on the scene, and
Yeah.
this whole rap rock metal crossover happened. And I mean, obviously, at the same time as that, you've got the Slim Shady LP dropping. I
Yeah.
remember this kid in high school that was older than a lot of us. He used to walk around with a backpack selling burned CDs, and he came up to me and my friends one day, and he's like, "Oh, guys, you need the CD," and we were like, "Okay, what is it?" He's like, "It's called the Slim Shady LP. Just buy it." So we were all like, "All right, okay, okay." I remember taking it home and putting it in my CD player and just being like, "What the fuck is this?" And that
Yeah.
was probably, I mean, I'd heard hip hop, I'd listened to some hip hop. I mean, like, I think probably Cypress Hill was one of the first sort of memories I've got of listening to hip hop. The Black Sunday album, still an absolute all time classic for me. Um, but I think the Slim Shady LP was the first hip hop album that I bought and went home and played in its entirety from start to finish, and was just like mesmerized by it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, the Slim Shady LP. I remember being that. I remember when the Marshall Mathers LP came out, and you thought the whole world was going to burn because it's just 'cause, I don't know how well that album would go today, but back then it was just controversial enough to be entertaining.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
there's no telling. Oh, shout out to Triple 14 Music. Yeah, first guy from YouTube to you. So, yeah, for you guys who don't know, we are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Unfortunately, Instagram is just too much of a mobile app, so StreamYard just hasn't gotten that connection yet. So, yeah, so yeah, man, that's a cool story about the. It's crazy because that is very similar to all the music I was listening to. I think Run DMC was my first introduction to hip hop when they first came out on MTV. So obviously Beastie Boys and but yeah, when Eminem came out with Slim Shady LP, that just kind of it was just it's hard to explain. It's yeah, it just kind of changed the world in a way.
It's such an era defining
Yeah, very era defining.
generation at that time. I think I was talking to my friend about this the other day around that same time, because it was the same time as sort of new metal burst on the scene, and it was this whole hip hop, rap, metal fusion, and the videos were everywhere. And I was talking to my friend the other day, and we were saying, I don't think there's been such a significant generational impact on music since that time. I don't think there's been anything that has sort of come out and grabbed the world and changed the sound and defined an era like that era of the early 2000s. I think it's since then it's been very rinse and repeat of the same sort of sounds. I don't think there's been any huge wave of something really new.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. So for everyone listening, so talk about your company. Obviously we're talking about branding and investing, but I know you do social media branding. You've actually done social media management for me a couple times. We did a couple ads. You put me on some pretty good game on algorithms and stuff I've actually implemented still to this day that works fairly well. So you definitely know your stuff on that. So just anything you want to kind of put out there on that?
I think because it's such an ever evolving path with social media,
Right,
I think
yeah.
if I was ever to dip into that right now, I'd be totally clueless, mate. I'll be honest with you. I think at the time I was heavily involved in it, pushing my own music, pushing my label's music, and I was really sort of almost full time whilst having a full time job, just constantly working on ads, branding, algorithms, and I think it's just changed so much now. I don't really dabble in the social media management side of things anymore. Right. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good. It was good to try and figure out the best ways of doing things. And when it worked and it paid off, I'd make notes. I'd think, right, next time I try this. Next time I leave that out. That doesn't work. I mean, I was promoting a lot of artists' music through my label, because as well as being an independent label releasing our own music, we were also a promotional platform too. And I was spending a lot of money on Facebook ads, to the point where Facebook assigned me my own ads account manager who touch base with me monthly and give me ideas on what to do and sort of give me a bit of an insight into changes that were happening and things like that. So yeah, I did that back then a few years ago, but now I wouldn't have a clue. I think it's this whole Reels, this TikTok-esque type vibe that's going on right now. I don't get it. I'm not really down with it. I don't really understand it enough to have an opinion on it, really. But it's a very fast-paced. Our attention span is just dwindling day by day. We want videos that are like bang, 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 bang. Yeah. It's almost like entertaining toddlers, right? If you don't keep them happy for longer than 10 seconds, they're on to the next thing already. And I think we're all just getting morphed into that kind of world right now. It's insane.
Yeah, I definitely felt like that for a while. I've as of recently just been able to kind of use it to my advantage. The upside to it is that you're in this, as you would call, you're not really in the feed, you're in the discovery feed. So you're reaching people that are outside. So that's the benefit of it. I do think the music portion still has it a little harder. So you kind of have to, some cases it kind of helps to do the remix stuff, something that, or at least you're hashtagging correctly. I was off TikTok for at least 8 months because I just said, fuck this. You know what I mean? Like I was like, no, this is about goofy, corny comedy, girls shaking their asses, what I mean, dances. And I just said this, I just feel like but I kept hearing, no, it's like a great tool for you to advance musically. And there's a meme going out that I definitely felt was where they're taking it, where they wanted artists to do everything except music. And I understand the idea of people getting a taste of your personality and what you like, so that way they kind of connect with you. So I eventually there's an artist called Echo that I like a lot. If you haven't heard him, you should check him out since you were kind of an old school Blink-182 fan. He did a remix of Butterfly from Crazy Town, and that was I think that was one of his
Oh yeah,
blow up moments. But he's very like he can do different styles of hip hop. Anyway, he's got the whole social media thing as of today worked out very well. And then I noticed he what he did on TikTok, and it made sense. And so I got one of those caption apps where you can put the captions on the screen, and I would take like a clip of
yeah,
a verse and stuff like that. And so I've been utilizing that. I'll do at least maybe once a week, start filming in different locations. And the engagement's been really, really good. The new followers I've gotten from it. So I've been able to kind of find what I'm doing within that. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but when you're trying to like grow your following and not to mention, I mean, like I watch a lot of movies with subtitles. So it definitely helps when you know exactly what's being said, and it can be
yeah.
an
I
eye
mean, I
catcher.
think it's totally much more engaging when I'm
Oh yeah.
looking at videos and I can see the captions. It draws me in
Yeah.
more. It's a
Yeah.
no brainer, really. I think a
Um
lot of people are doing it. In fact, I've seen a couple of yours lately actually pop up in reels. I
yeah,
think it's some of your music video stuff, just pulling up the lyrics as well at the same
yeah, I'll
time.
do
Like
that.
it's
I'll do that. I'll shoot some videos like right here with this background. Just recently, like when I'm on the road or when I'm about to do a show or something, you know, I'll have my girl with me or I'll have a homie with me. I'll say, hey, shoot this video and then play the song on your phone and little stuff like that. And people have been reacting it pretty well. So I try to keep it within who I am. Not trying to jump on a trend, just enough where I'll get that visibility. Um, but um, but yeah, man, I've definitely noticed algorithms are more tighter. It's definitely more of you have to spend money to really get your new video seen, you know, heard and seen, and get your show flyer seen. So there's definitely some frustration with it. I've learned to kind of let that frustration go and just say, you know, who's going to see this, who's going to see it. So, but uh, but yeah, I didn't like the short form content for a while. I still don't, but it it's I found my place within it. If that makes any sense. So it's kind of like, well, here's a tool, here's the benefit of it, but I'm not going to like limit myself to just that. So it's kind of like you want to be the
yeah,
jack of all trades kind of thing. So,
jack of all
so
trades, master of none, as they
yeah,
say.
yeah.
But
So you got a
it's
comment?
like I don't know. I have this vibe that it's like all it takes is for one viral video to choose your music as the backdrop to it, and boom, there you go. Because
Yeah,
how often do you hear these same songs just rinsed and repeated on all these different type of viral, funny,
right.
weird, memey shit videos? Like it's like you get really lucky if someone just chooses one of your tracks to use for it, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Shout out to Freitas. I get buried in the algorithm for not sponsoring ads. Well, yeah. I mean,
Facts. They want your money.
they want your money, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I recognize the name Freitas. I'm sure I've put Freitas on many a flyer of yours.
He's been on. Yep. Freitas. Me and him work together really well. Yeah. You definitely see him, see his name pop up when I send you information to make a flyer. So, um,
It's good.
yeah,
It's good.
man.
It's nice that you work with the same crew a lot.
Yeah.
I always see new names added in there, and
Yeah.
it's nice that you kind of keep. It appears to me that you kind of keep a sort of solid base of
Yeah.
artists around you all the time, and you do shows together, and it's good to see.
Hmm.
There's like it definitely feels from my end that you've got like a good unit out there, a good base.
Yeah. And yeah, definitely. And I get people hitting me up. It's like, there's a new artist every day that are, and which is good because there's a new artist that retires every day. So you always want the music scene, all around the world to keep moving because that's what keeps us moving is music. So, but yeah, I always got my eye out for new talent and but yeah, I like to keep the ones that you know the close homies. They make everything super simple. They know my process and I know theirs, and so you don't have to question if someone's gonna flake or take too long setting up or breaking down. So everyone knows the game plan, and then so that makes a good team.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. So out of curiosity, so I've always been kind of curious about what the music scene in the UK is like. I don't know if you're a concert goer or if you just like it, at home.
In terms of going to shows, no,
Yeah,
I'm not really. I'm not really big on that at all, to be honest. I work a lot. I am. I am a pretty busy guy. I mean, I've
yeah,
got my day job. I've got my design work. As you know, recently back in October, I decided after a couple of years out of the game, I decided that I was going to get back into making some music again. So a lot of my time's taken up by that. I don't really have time to be going out to shows as much as I'd like
right,
to. Having said that, I'm going to Download Festival this year in the UK, big metal
nice,
festival. Metallica are doing 2 nights, 2 different sets. There's a lot of big names still to be announced, but Slipknot are there. Bring Me the Horizon. Loads. There's loads been announced already. But yeah, so I'm going to that. Speaking of Blink 182 earlier, so I've
yeah,
got 3 sons. My 9-year-old has recently discovered Blink 182, and he
yeah.
came to me. He came to me playing this track, and he's like, "Yo, Dad, have you ever heard this before?" Put some Blink 182 on, and I was like, "Oh my god, have I heard this?" Yes, we're going to listen to it all right now. And he's just obsessed with Blink. So we've got Blink tickets. We've got to see Blink. Obviously, Tom
Hmm.
DeLonge's back. They've announced a world tour, so we're going to go and see Blink later on this year. Getting back to the UK scene kind of things. I mean, UK hip hop is big out here. It is big
Nice.
out here. You've got it. You've obviously got this new wave of drill, trap,
Yeah,
kind of. I mean, we've got out here like a grime scene. Now, it's never been something that I've been involved in, but I respect where it came from, and I respect how it was birthed from a genre of our own, like UK garage. Up tempo, 140, and just I respect the culture and the birth of it and where it came from, because again, it comes from around that same time when I first heard things like I mean, I'm going to reel off some names you probably won't have heard of, but like So Solid Crew, um, Dizzy Rascal, and Wiley, and it came from garage, but it sort of bloomed into this genre of its own, which is now, I guess, it's like the only way I can describe it is how a lot of like the trap stuff sounds in the US. We were
hmm
kind of hearing stuff like that years ago over here.
wow, wow,
Yeah, that whole kind of halftime 140 big bass 808 tinny hi-hat snappy snares, that whole kind of wave and sound was something that was going on over here years ago. So yeah, I mean, grime, drill, trap, whatever you want to call it. I hate subgenres. I hate trying to pigeonhole something into a category. It's just like, for me, that falls under the umbrella of hip hop.
yeah,
Controversial. There's a lot of debate on what's classed as hip hop and what isn't. But as far as I'm concerned, a group of MCs spitting bars over a beat is most definitely part of the original culture of hip hop, right?
yeah. Couple of things I was going to throw in, and so I'll say it right now before it escapes my brain. One you just mentioned. talk about, it's all hip hop subgenres. There's always debates on what real authentic hip hop is. That the funny thing about that though is, and like I live in the Midwest of America, and so a lot of historically, obviously hip hop came out of New York, and then obviously the West Coast, so areas like California definitely has a nice wave of a hip hop scene. So when here in the Midwest, and this debate happens even in my own city, and it's fine. It's fine to have a discussion. Sometimes people get a little too rude for my taste, where it's like, okay, bro, it's music, like you know what I mean. So there's this debate. Obviously, like horrorcore, he always gets kind of like a bad rep, even though members of Wu Tang was in Gravediggers, which was technically horrorcore. You know what I mean? So I always
Yeah.
say there's different, obviously sometimes I think for a little bit trap was getting a bad rep, but then or just anything that wasn't boom bap was giving a bad rap. That's not real hip hop. But the funny thing is that you know, 2019 I did a show in Manhattan, New York, and there were like hip hop like legends in the building. There were record executives and a lot of great networking. It was probably one of my favorite experiences I ever had. But like you I was around a lot of artists, me and another artist, Savior Worldwide, who came from Tulsa, and everyone there, like a lot of the artists there were in New York. They like knew each other since high school. Kango Kid, who's one of the not just legends but pioneers, was hosting it. Um, man, I met the DJ from Public Enemy was there. There were Computer, which was he was part of the Mob Deep. He was like affiliate, like
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I mean. So you got to meet a lot of those, and it was nothing but like love and everything. And there was no like, hey, you ain't real hip hop enough. You don't belong here. None of that. It was all love. So from industry legends to just who were just locally in New York, and then I did Sacramento, California, and it was same thing. That was just an all local show, and it was nothing but like love and just good vibes and stuff like that. So kind of going to those areas and not really experiencing the deep like debates and what it's to them. It's like all hip hop. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
You don't
it's
need to
just
be a rapper or a
yeah,
DJ or a graffiti artist or a b-boy. You don't need to be any of these things to be part of a hip hop culture.
yeah,
It's bigger than that. It's a lifestyle. It's a total lifestyle, and what it's all about is it's coming together, right? It's coming
yeah.
together, and it's being creative, and it's enjoying something, and that's what it should be about. And I get what you're saying about the area that you might be from the States, but I live in the UK. To a lot of Americans, it's like you can't be involved in hip hop. You're from England, mate. Like, do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, there are still people out there that have got those kind of attitudes, and
Uh-huh.
it's like it's 2023. Hip hop, I'm pretty sure, is still the biggest genre of music across the world. How can anybody not be involved in or listen to or enjoy some form of hip hop in this day and age? And
Mhm.
why? The worst thing about it is, I think as a community and a genre, it's like the snobbiest. Everybody's got such an opinion on what you can like and what you can't like, and it's takes
I'll
me. Do
to-
you know
I'll
what?
toast I'll toast you to that, man. That is so fucking
I
true.
need to pour another one. But it's like
Right.
me and my friend again. We were having this discussion the other day, right?
Mhm.
And we were saying, I've mentioned Eminem. It's so fucking cliche for some white dude in England to be like, oh yeah, fucking Eminem got me into hip hop. But it's the truth, man. If it wasn't for Eminem, there'd be a lot of people around the world that wouldn't have. Because I didn't just listen to Eminem and leave it there. I was like, who's Dr. Dre? Like, I wanted to know and I wanted to listen to everything and discover it all. And it's thanks to him that I did that. What I don't like now is it's so fashionable and so cool to fucking hate on Eminem. It just is.
Oh my God, tell me.
You could put out the best fucking song in the world right now and be like, oh shit, it's Eminem. It's
Yeah.
like, to a
Here's
degree, I get it. He's almost too good now. You have to listen to some of his stuff and listen along while you're reading the lyrics to even pick up some of the bars, because they just go straight over your head. But
that
when you
was
do
what
actually look, it's like, wow, shit, that's crazy. But at the same time, I don't want to have to read some lyrics to enjoy the music or get what the bars are. I don't want to try so hard to enjoy a track. It's got to be sonically pleasing before anything else. That's why I'm always of the opinion that weak bars on an amazing beat will always beat amazing bars on a weak beat, because it takes 4 bars for your ears to decide whether or not you want to carry on listening and whether you like it. So I shouldn't have to work hard on liking something. It should just be like, boom, there it is.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. On the Eminem thing, that's been an annoying thing for me, and like that was never. Maybe it's because here's something. I think I can't remember who said this, but they said that the downside of hip hop now is that when you've been in the game for so long and you've just been winning, eventually people get sick of you and they're like, okay, it's now someone else's turn to win. I think that was kind of Machine Gun Kelly's one of what he was trying to say, but Eminem is not the only one that's been winning like successfully. Like now, like he's not doing half of what he does. He doesn't tour anymore. He won't even tell you an album's coming out. He just drops it up fucking nowhere, and then it goes platinum. And they said like he was the first artist in like Spotify history to to hit like 1 billion streams or something. It was
probably
some like crazy number. Yeah. So it's like he put in the work early in his career and made a stamp, and he influenced a lot of people. I will admit that the way I can structure multi-syllables, obviously, like, I discovered Big Daddy Kane and Rakim, early in my life, and but I listened to them more when I heard Eminem shout them out in a freestyle, saying those were same thing with Cool G Rap, like Necro and Ill Bill and all the underground guys, they champion Cool G Rap, and me living in the Midwest. There's a lot of early hip hop that a lot of us missed out on because we weren't really in we weren't in the East Coast where you heard that. So there's definitely some legends that were not as mainstream, not as popular, that we missed out on. But that's the cool thing about the internet. We get to discover that now. But with Eminem, I will say overall, music wise, as far as beats and writing, it's not what it was in the 2000s. But I will say now, his lyricism, he has more double meanings now. I actually talked to a kid who was a millennial, like he was about maybe like a generation behind me, and like he's into obviously the new style, but he agreed with me. He said, no, I think Eminem's lyricism is more mind blowing now, because like this last album, there's at least a couple songs that I found something else in his lyrics that I missed the first few times. You know what I mean? So I think in that aspect he's definitely grown, but he's continuously he's continuously having a career and still breaking records. So I mean, you could say that has something to say about him. Probably has something to say about the team he's had around him for a very long time, which is definitely something we'll get into on this. But yeah, I don't get the whole, because I read this conversation on Facebook about people talking about it. No, it was a reel. I can't remember who said it, but they said, Eminem is one of the greatest ever, but nobody's listening to him. Like nobody's bumping Eminem, and I'm saying, well, in the early 2000s, people were bumping. You couldn't get away from him. He was on the radio constantly. Everyone was playing him. All the white girls loved him. So all this stuff, like, you know what I mean? So it was at parties, it was at proms, it was everywhere. But to say that no one listens to him now, then how is he going platinum? How is he killing shit on Spotify?
Yeah,
So
this isn't just people like me and you of our age that used to listen to
yeah,
him back in the day, just going in checking it out. It's like he's definitely hitting ridiculous audiences still. You know,
yeah,
no matter what anybody wants to say about him,
yeah, yeah.
he's
Um,
it's ridiculous.
but yeah, that's so it's what it is. I mean, Tupac has been passed on for so many years. His music is still relevant. His name still comes in as a goat, a
Absolutely.
legend. So you know what I mean. So
Passion,
I
pure
yeah
passion. When I think of Tupac and I listen to Tupac,
yeah
it's the passion in his delivery for sure. Nobody still to this day delivers the passion in his music, in music like he did.
hmm
And his
um
catalog was ridiculously huge.
oh yeah. So there's something else you mentioned, and I'm gonna pop up this other comment that Freitas had. I'm just gonna pop that at the end of the conversation. You
Okay.
mentioned grime, and
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Low Key. Um,
Okay.
he's literally, I think him. There's someone else. One of the few, which I know he's of mixed culture. I know he's like half British, and I think he's like Middle Eastern or something like that. But I know he repped the UK hip hop for a while, and but I liked a lot of his like radio freestyles that he did, and but he kept mentioning grime. So I knew that was kind of like a genre. I don't want to say the word subgenre, but but it he rep just the way he described it, and I never heard of what. Now we have terms like grimy, which is usually like dark, hardcore kind of
Right.
terminology, but the way he mentioned it was it sounded like it was a genre out there, and you mentioned that when you were talking about UK hip hop. So would his music describe that? I know that's probably something more I should like look into, but I was kind
Um,
of curious of what that kind of pertains to as far as like music style wise, and
I
in your
guess he
country.
would. I guess he would be considered a grime artist.
Okay.
Again, like I'm not really big on grime.
Yeah.
I don't really know enough to have a strong opinion on it. I know where it came
Yep.
from. I know how it started. I know some of the earlier artists that were sort of part of that. But now, for me, grime is exactly what this whole trap drill thing you've got going on out there is. It's the same. It sounds the same. I mean, you must
Okay.
have heard of this Central C kid that's out there right now.
Yeah, that name sounds
He's
familiar.
he's been on all kinds of radio shows and stuff out in the states. Um, he did that Doja Cat remix tune that just went viral.
hmm
He like this is the kind of stuff that's out here now that I don't. I mean, I probably piss a lot of people off and annoy a lot of people that are big on grime, but to me, that's what grime is now. This is the kind of mainstream grimy sounds. It's exactly the same sort of sounds as what you've got coming out with the drill and the trap.
You grab me a beer. Yeah, man. That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
It's all very what's the word? It's all very sort of industrial sounding. You know the sound. It's full on 808s, ridiculously house crushing bass. And I like it. I like those beats. I'm not going to lie.
hmm
I love trap beats, drill
hmm
beats. I'd love to be able to make that kind of stuff myself, but I can't. So I stay away from it. It's not my style. It's not my vibe creatively. But I do appreciate it.
Cool, man. Cool. So I'm gonna pop in what Freya said because you and I talked about this a couple because this was something that almost happened. He was like, "When are we gonna do that European tour?" I was like, "Man, that's something I've been thinking about, and I know you and I talked because I did have a Europe tour planned. Weird time. It was kind of iffy because it was still because I know." I'm gonna watch my word because I don't know if social media still harpers on that the c word pandemic. We'll just say that. So try to watch that. I've already been hit for. I've been in Facebook jail enough times,
Oh dear.
um, but no, that it was there were still because he was telling me there's still different restrictions in certain countries, And I remember asking him, was like, dude, why the fuck are we doing this now? Like, granted, he had the Europe tour planned prior to the pandemic, and then it was like still trying to do it. I just said, man, why don't we just push it to a whole nother year? You know what I mean? So that was kind of weird, which ended up happening, and everybody in at least in the Midwest, I would say in the horrorcore and juggalo music scene, which was kind of the both audience, but they found out he stole money from like a lot of artists and even some industry artists who I'm super cool with. So he's got a hit on his head now.
Oh shit.
I got fucked out of 250 because that was the deposit I did, and even then I remember talking to family and they're like, "So you're only paying 500 to do this tour?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "How?" She goes, "You know how you know?"
Yeah, how?
And I
How?
said, "Well, it's not just." I thought it's not just me. There's other people, and to me, I was just like, "That's it." So, and this particular guy's been doing tours, so I've seen like what he's been doing. So I said, "This is not some dude out of the blue that said, hey,
Yeah.
you have an opportunity to do a tour." So, um, and so like I was fine with that. And then my guy Patch Flowers, for some reason, he got him for 1,000, so he charged him more. Then the dude disappeared,
Wow.
and with a lot of people's money, and that's been a stain on at least this part of the music scene. Just anyone that's been involved in like underground, horrorcore, juggalo, just
Yeah.
underground rap in general, because that he was because a lot of that because at least now like that's kind of where like the horror rap or dark rap genre is. It's the juggalo scene supports it very very much. That's another group that I know gets a bad rep, but I've got nothing but love from juggalos and all that. They're all about the music and unity and stuff like that. And one thing I do like about the horrorcore dark rap scene is that they show a lot of respect to legends. um, One thing, and you know this as well, like Kumo D and a lot of the legends that come here, uh, I'll very few people they get. I don't know about Kumo D in general, but a lot of old school guys have a hard time drawing, a crowd. Um, so I mean, like I saw Rock Him. He came to my city back 2015, and that place should have been packed. The turnout was not bad, but for someone as legendary as Rock Him, there should have
Yeah.
been, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
I
that's
mean,
a
Rakim
common.
must be doing bits still because he's touring out here later on this year. Me and a mate of mine was talking about getting tickets. I think he's coming to Manchester in
That's
August.
another thing. That's one thing I've heard is that a lot of these legendary guys get better turnouts in Europe than they do in America. So
Yeah, I can believe that. I can believe that.
yeah, that's one thing I've heard that I said definitely like in Germany, which is I'm 3/4 German, so I've only been to
Really?
Germany once. Yeah, my grandmother was born in Berlin, Germany, and she immigrated to America. So I'm very like passionate about German and all kinds of Europe culture just because how close I was to my grandmother
Yeah,
and just
yeah,
learned like kind of a lot and then getting to kind of experience it. Unfortunately, I was only 13, so you're so young, all you have is like these little memories, and so it'd be
yeah.
different like now. But yeah, I heard like especially like in Europe, like it's like the 90s again. Like just the it's something you don't forget, and when you come back to do shows in America, it's like they said like, man, it's almost like not the same. Like it's a whole different experience. So
Yeah, I can
so
believe
that's
that. I can believe
yeah,
that. I
and
think
that's
if
a
you're talking about UK hip hop, I mean, I've spoke briefly about the sort of mainstream UK hip hop, which is the whole grime, drill, trap kind of sound.
mhm.
But boom bap out in the UK is argue. I mean, again, this is controversial, and this is coming from an English guy, but
It's fine.
I think
I like controversy over here.
I honestly think that some of these UK rappers have got bars that are just like. I think our UK boom bap is very 90s. It is very 90s, and it is almost every decent underground UK rapper, they've all got fucking bars, mate. And I think the problem that they have with not getting as big as they should is that they can't really leave England with their sound. All right, Europe, they'll get love. But I think because of the accent, it's the accent. And even to a degree, it even puts me off. I'm not a huge lover of UK hip hop to listen to because for me, I prefer the sound of American rappers.
Oh,
they're more sonically pleasing on the ear than listening to some guy from Brentford rapping about cups of tea and crumpets. I'm joking, but they've got bars though, mate. They've got bars, and
yeah.
yes, it's the accent, and I think that's a barrier. I know a lot of I've worked with and know a lot of American artists that say the same thing. It's like some of them love it and are on board with it, but a lot of them are like, I can't get past the accent, and I think that's fair enough.
See, that's crazy. I can see that. But I've definitely found like some enjoyment out of European MCs and UK MCs. Like kind of like I said, low key is probably the one that I know the most. And but there's other ones, like there's other UK MCs he's collaborated with, and you hear like that very thick accent. I mean, I personally I love the British accent. I love the European accent. It's just you know what I mean? But I think even then with certain flows and syllables, it almost like sounds almost perfect to the beat just because everyone raps to an accent in some shape or form because you can't just use your bland talking voice. Otherwise it hurts the rhythm,
Right.
So but I get it. I've been wanting to spend more time, learning or at least, discovering other forms of other countries and their music. I collaborated with an artist out of Kenya, and he actually shot his video. He got his video guy to shoot him. It's called A Rose in Winter. It's from a while back. Wasn't one of my favorite videos just because I didn't really have much of a vision for it, and now I'm a little bit more selective. I don't want to shoot a video unless we have a vision for it. But it was just something that wasn't really, as far as I know, wasn't really done, in my city and state, where you had a video and one was an American, someone was from another country like Kenya, So, and it was interesting.
Yeah, that's a crazy collab.
Yeah, it was an interesting, concept, and so that's kind of so. Oh, Freitas has another question for you. Let's see, yeah, pop up. Do you know Natalie Miranda?
Natalie Miranda. Nope, never heard the name before in my life. Is this a musician or is this just somebody that lives in England that I might know?
Yeah, it could be. I'm sure it's both. I'm sure it's both. Right on.
I mean, going back to the accents thing, it's like, our country's so small, but you can drive 30 minutes one direction and it's a whole new dialect. It's a whole new accent. Like, and everybody just assumes like England is London. It's like each county. I guess our counties are like your states on a smaller scale, but each county's got its own accent. It's got its own slang. It is crazy. Yeah. It is crazy. But no, Natalie Miranda, no. Never heard of her. She was on the news for her music the other day. No. But again, this is probably because I'm not really one to be checking up on, new music coming out, or to be honest, I don't even watch the news. Like, I avoid watching the news, to be honest.
Yeah, that's always best. Ignore the news.
We've got enough shit in our lives, and watching the news just adds to the shit in my life. So I don't watch the news, to be honest. But yeah, I don't really keep my eyes out on new music, especially when I'm creative and I'm making a lot of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
I tend not to listen to a lot of hip hop, and when I'm playing a lot of guitar, then I listen to a lot of hip hop. I don't know. It's weird. I'm just on a different vibe all the time.
I'm kind of the same way. I'll have a certain time, like I mentioned Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains. So, there's times where I'm not listening to hip hop. You know what I mean? And it's not like I'm not on a fuck hip hop mindset or something like that. You just kind of have a different mood, different vibe, and so
Yeah, and I mean, I always go
Mhm.
back to my usual shit anyway.
Yeah,
I'm never really one for checking out new stuff. So if I'm in a hip hop mood, I go back to my regular shit.
yeah, true. I get into my mode where I've been on my, I'll be using my Spotify playlist or something like that, and then eventually I feel like, man, I'm just listening to the same 8 songs over and over, and I want to discover something. I try to discover something new. So, um, even though like we have access to the internet and literally anyone who's anybody doing music is there, it's just kind of wondering like, how do you find it without having to shuffle through a lot of
Yeah,
because hip hop is so broad now. So you don't. So it's kind of like I hate to use the term, but it's like what subgenre of hip hop are
yeah,
you looking
you've
for?
got to do it. Yeah,
So
you've
you
got to
don't have
do
to
it.
go. You don't have to go through all the mainstream saturated stuff that you know. But I've been on like a melody like craze lately. Like I've been spending more practice on melodies. So because for the longest time I struggled with a chorus, and I would get features so often to do the chorus,
Yeah,
which resulted into collaborating with some good singers and people who are just good with melodies and end up making a good song. But lately I've been working on that more and just learning a lot about sonic sounds, how they so you know because granted when you do any kind of genre of music it's easy to get burned out. So for me personally, I
yeah,
try to find as much inspiration as much knowledge, so because the more you evolve it keeps you in this great mindset that you can always like improve and find new exciting things to make, in ways of making music. So and finding music, so that way you don't get burned out listening to the same 4 or 5 artists or 4 or 5 bands. So
yeah. And
so but
it's nice. I think when you hear an artist that doesn't just rap.
Mhm,
They've got it in their repertoire to even mid verse, throw a few bars that have got a bit of a melody to them
mhm.
that just ride over the beat. Like
Yeah, for sure.
I work with a guy out here. I released an EP with him. I've worked on solo stuff with him and helped mix and master albums with him and his group. But Chatter, shout out to Chatter. He's really got a knack for adding some melody to his bars
Mhm.
and then putting stuff together on a hook. And
Yeah.
my eyes light up, my ears explode when I've received verses and hooks from him, that when I lay it over the beat to lace it, and I'm like, yeah, I did not expect that, but that it works. It sounds good. It just adds a new dimension to a track, and it's just not flat. It just lifts the entire track to a new level because it's got just
Yeah.
that little spark, that little subtlety of melody that just it makes such a difference.
Yeah. Um, so let me think where I was gonna. Man, I had so many. I freestyle all my questions. I don't write notes because I like to keep the podcast very genuine and authentic. So, and I
Yeah,
don't
it's
have
good.
the.
And I
I don't have
talk
the.
a lot of shit as well, so
Yeah,
please stop me.
you're fine, bro. Um. So so you talked about having a label, and I know you're reforming that, or at least I know you took a little break from music at some point.
Yeah,
But yeah, you did have a label, and then you're forming like a team again, producing, for artists. Talk a little bit about that. Talk about the label, how it formed. Definitely, since we're in the conversation of investing in brands, and I want to talk about having a team because you definitely we had that conversation. You said that artists tend to get a lot further, taken more seriously, able to achieve more when they got like a team behind them, and that's what inspired me to. I mean, I'll say that's one of the big inspirations. That conversation is when I started the whole Carnage Crew concept, which you're a big part of as well on the graphics. Um, so tell me about that. Tell me your thought process on your label. Like what all kind of goes into it when it comes to kind
yeah.
of building
So
a team.
I think back in I think it was maybe 2016, maybe 2017, maybe around the time that me and you first connected.
Yeah.
It was round about the time where I knew I was ready to be serious about actually releasing music and approaching artists with my beats to say, look, let's make some tracks. I think around that time, I'm a big lover of graffiti, first and foremost. Always have been from a very young age. And I followed a page on Facebook called the Graffiti Kings. And I used to, check out that stuff all the time. It was always graffiti videos, images, all kinds of cool graffiti related shit. And they put a post out on Facebook one night, basically saying, we're looking for original music. If you make your own music, get in touch. We'd like to listen to it. I saw it the moment it was posted. I instantly sent them a message with a link to my stuff, and they got back in touch instantly. Like, we're loving what we're hearing. We'd like to use your music in our graffiti videos. So that was a huge moment for me. It's a huge moment for me. Shout out to Darren Cullen, who is the owner and the big popper of Graffiti Kings, because he sort of gave me that platform to have my music ultimately put on the ears of like literally millions of people across social media. Like, their videos were just viral. They were getting millions of views on everything, and it was my music, and it was like, this is insane. Anyway, without digressing too much on that, basically our relationship carried on for a few months, and it was sort of, they made me an admin on their page on Facebook. They've got like 2.5 million followers. I was given the brief of let's include more music in this. Graffiti's part of the hip hop culture. Let's start, putting some music content out there as well. So through that, I made the suggestion that we create our own sort of sub brand as a music label, and GK Beats was formed from that, which was the sort of under the umbrella of Graffiti Kings. We started off a Facebook page. We used Graffiti Kings as the main platform to share our shit and really build our following. And through that, we just started to not only put out musical content, but with the guys that I was working with, Chatter, who I've mentioned already, Jamsey and Riffrey, those guys were a group out here and still are, called Free Minds. It's UK boom bap. We worked on music together. We shot videos. We pushed it out online. We did a lot. In a very short space of time, and things were going great. We tapped into promoting other artists' music on the page because we started to get a big following. We were getting messages daily saying, how do we get our music video on your platform? And that just sparked a new idea in me. And it was like, oh my God, we can promote music on this as well. This doesn't have to be, it was just constantly evolving what we could do. So we started promoting other people's music. One video hit my inbox one day from an artist out in the States. He's from Mount Pleasant, Michigan. Shout out to Lunchbox. I've worked with him now for years. We've made an album together. We've done loads of solo tracks. We're actually going to be working on some new stuff now. I speak to the guy, all the time. Again, we've never met, but we've worked together for years now, just like our relationship. And he sort of got on board, and it was like, what are we? Are we a label? Are we a crew? Are we a movement? What is this? And it was like, no, this is a label. And I think, going back to your original question, I think I always naturally wanted to be a part of a label. It made me feel like I was doing something legitimately if I was part of a label. And I think it gives the sense to other people that you are legit, and they see you working with other artists that are under the same umbrella, and somebody might listen to my stuff and hear shout outs about the other guys, and then they'll discover them, and it's all about branching out. And I think if you're working with groups of like-minded people under the same umbrella, you're helping and lifting each other, and 2 heads are better than 1, 3 heads are better than 2. We all tried to figure out what we were good at in terms of promoting, and we sort of divided and conquered, if you like.
Yeah.
The guys on the label started picking up bookings around the UK and at festivals, and those guys are great. I loved working with them. Um, I'm still in touch now. It's likely we're going to carry on making more music.
Cool.
But again, branding, being a part of an umbrella, I think it's giving each other a push and using each other's strengths that might be your weaknesses to even just bounce ideas off each other. You know, it's a collective group of like-minded creatives, I think, and if you've got that around you, then you're very fortunate. It's quite easy to go a bit stale if you're working by yourself.
Oh yeah. Like I was a part of a label before, and was actually one of the co-founders. Mogan Music. You've
Yeah,
you've seen
yeah,
their logo. We've had it. Yeah. So
yeah,
and we had that for quite a few years. It turned into multi-genre. Learned a lot about branding, marketing, and then merchandising was so huge. Everyone on the label had their own merch, and and in my city at the time was unheard of. You only saw that if it was a touring band or a touring act that was coming through, and so a lot of money went into that, and but so time goes on, artists move on, and the problem with it is, and this is no shade on anybody, it's just an observation. I may have said this on a podcast before. Once certain artists they kind of see the work that's being put in, and they think, oh, I can just do that myself,
yeah,
and then
yeah. Right.
artists,
Yeah.
they leave and then the team it disbands. Sometimes pride gets in the way. I tell artists all the time, pride is your biggest downfall. It's okay to be proud of your work, be proud of, but just like, don't let it feel like you're better than everybody else, or you
Egos,
don't.
right? Egos.
Egos, yeah, and it just happens. And some like really good artists who are actually really good people, they do let the ego, uh, you know, get the best of them, and it can totally happen. What was it? A homie of mine, Brzezowski, I had him on the podcast, and he just talked about like how you should conduct yourself when you're on tour or when you're working with people. And he says you're not the shit until you're the shit, and even then you probably ain't shit. So
Yeah, that's it.
I get
Stay humble. Stay humble.
yeah, I get people that work with me that they get mad with me. It's like, dude, quit being like, you can flex a little. You can, and I said, I might, I do a little bit of that in certain songs. And that's just me having fun because I love battle rap and all that stuff. So that's kind of where a lot of my lyricism is inspired from. But like, no one's going to want to work with you if you're just this egotistical dickhead all the time. And I've seen it. There's plenty of guys who they said, man, you don't work with so and so anymore. I was like, dude, he's talented, but fuck him. You know what I
He's a
mean?
dickhead.
Yeah, but I said like it's impossible to work with him, and it's just it kills the vibe and stuff like that. So there's just some people that like have all the talent in the world, but it's just they've got to learn to think about things other than themselves sometimes, and I've had guys who came very far, and then the pride was their downfall. They came later, apologized, and as long as you didn't do anything super fucked up, I'm a pretty forgiving person. So sometimes but there's music legends that came from here who let many things be their downfall, and they lost a lot, like lost things that most of us would kill to have. Maybe not kill to have, but like got to play big stages that many don't get the
Yeah.
opportunity for. And they get caught up in a lot of hardcore drugs and bad surroundings. So kind of going back to what I was saying, it's ego is a big killer. But I just think the idea is like, oh, I could do it all. Me personally, I've had to do since the label disbanded, at least for the most part. Um, you know, and the roster kind of all went our separate ways. I just kind of took what I learned and was able to do it, you know. But obviously, I'm not doing everything myself. But I do wish I had some type of a manager, who could
Yeah.
manage things, take a little off my shoulders, um, things of booking agents, where I just give them dates, and which I do have one that shout out to ATM. He's helped me a lot. And I have friends in other cities and states who I can reach out because nowadays a lot of artists are promoters as well, which I think is great because you have more of a chance of doing well financially because the artist knows what it's like and they're going to make sure you get they're going to make sure that you're paid fairly. They're going to make sure
Yeah.
the promotion is and the crowd is there. So I think that's a good what I mean. I think that's always a good
Yeah,
ordeal.
definitely. They've got the experience themselves, so they
Oh
know
yeah.
how artists want to be treated, right?
Oh, absolutely. Shout out to Eamon, Oklahoma City. I think he's in Norman actually. But yeah, man. Back to the whole concept of Carnage Crew. I haven't exactly wanting it to be a label, but it does like label things. So, but I've dedicated this podcast to giving free game for up and coming artists who don't know what to do outside of the music. Um, but I definitely wanted to form a team. Um, and make it half a clothing line, which we talked about that the other day.
Yeah,
That's a big thing, and also like I want it to be something that the fans can get involved too. Like they feel like they're a part of something, as well as the artists. Like you look at Strange Music, you look at what ICP, and trying to think of some other entities. I know Tom McDonald did the Hangover Gang thing, and that's something his fan base was able to like you know, represent and feel like they're a part of something. Mercules and Snack the Ripper, they have Stomp Down Killers.
yeah, yeah.
That was a big. I love their logos and their. I mean to get one of their shirts. Mad Child had Battle Axe Warriors, so I think just even having a brand that not just the artists on your team can rep and feel like they're a part of something powerful and amazing, but like fans feel like they're a part of it. So that's my overall plan of that. But everyone likes to wear some fly shit. So that's where the clothing line comes in.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly, exactly.
I know Travis Barker, he had, what's it called? Family. So that was a big thing that he did. We lost him. Device is not connected. Here, he'll pop back in. All right. If you guys got any questions, because I think we had a little connection issue, but we'll wait for him to pop back in. Yeah, we'll probably do that. They will need a connector, Mike. All right, so we'll wait a little bit. I think he had a connection issue. So yeah, if you guys got any comments, we've been pretty busy with this conversation. Well, you guys got quiet all of a sudden. Well, let's do this. While we're waiting, let me go ahead and give you guys. If you guys are interested in working with Dan Bailey on graphics, logo branding, because that's been our main subject. So let me do share screen. I'll you know what I mean? I'll show you guys his Facebook so you guys kind of know how to get a hold of him. Let's see. I haven't done this in a minute, so you guys might have to bear with me for a second. But I'm gonna show you guys how you can get a hold of him if you want to work with him. I'll just wait for him to pop back in. So give me 1 second. I gotta get this extra page up because, of course, my computer wants to run slow right now. All right, come on. Okay. Sorry, guys, trying to get this. Just tab up, add to stream. There we go. There we go. Okay. Yeah, you guys see Patch Flowers' lovely face? It just popped up. Oh, come on. Computer loves to be slow at the worst times. Had him for a second. Just slow it. Okay. Sorry, guys. Computer's signed to be slow at literally the worst time. Okay, here we go. Come on. There we go. Apparently, when you hit your mouse like 10,000 times in a row, it'll work. So Dan Bailey, just look up Dan Bailey on Facebook, shoot him a message. And yeah, man, if you're trying to get any type of quality, graphic design, logos, definitely the guy. I mean, you've seen the work he's done for me. I know he worked with Fritzy when Fritzy puts out music. So, all right, Dan just hit me up. He's trying to get back on. So, yeah, technology is a lovely thing. Well, the unfortunateness of being live. So anyway, guys, for you guys still watching, I'm going to release the got a show announcement tomorrow, dropping a flyer for the Cody Manson show tonight, and tomorrow we'll be announcing a Connor's Crew show will be in Oklahoma City. So letting you guys know about that. Oh damn. All right, we'll actually have to shut this off. Apparently, his connection just totally died on him, unfortunately. But we did get a great fucking interview. I was loving it. So yeah, if you guys, man, definitely reach out to him if you want to work with him. Great dude, and does great quality work. But yeah, unfortunately, his connection totally died on him. Well, never mind. He's got something. Okay. Yeah, I definitely don't want to end it here. If we get it back on, because we're about done with the interview. I think we touched on pretty much everything we wanted to, but I want to try and at least get a good outro. Oh, I hear a button. Add to stream. All right.
I'm back. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there. Can you hear me?
Oh, you good, man? Yeah, I've been repping your. Well, we've been repping you during your
repping the personal Facebook.
Yeah,
so that is my. So I coach junior football or soccer, as you call it out there. So that's my team. Love those guys.
Let me pull up your actual. Okay, what was that? I guess was that. I heard a sound. Okay, let me pull up your actual like business page. That'd probably be. Is that more ideal where you want people to contact you if they want to work? We always talk on your personal Facebook, so I don't know if you have a preference.
I mean, yeah. Whatever you want to do, I'm easy. I'll talk
Yeah.
about anything.
All right, cool. Let me pull that up. So here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
So yeah, I had to create a new page last week because I went to post from Delta Bravo Graphics and Facebook just decided to delete it one day. So
Facebook always on some bullshit.
I think didn't something like that happen to you, or you got banned from your own page or some shit.
Yep. But anyway, guys, let me pull it up so they can see your whole cover photo. There we go. So yeah, so if you guys are interested in working with him, and I highly recommend. So definitely hit up Dan with Delta Bravo Graphics, and there's all that he does. So we'll pop back out of there. But yeah, man, I'm glad we got you back on. I didn't want to end at such a random note. But
yeah, I actually don't know what happened. Everything just decided to turn off at the same time. But
that
we're back.
You're not the first person that's happened to. There's plenty of live streams that just it's happened to me before. People are like, so yeah, live stream podcast, you'll lose your guest, maybe even the host at random times, and so did my best to keep people entertained during your absence, but I figured a little plug wouldn't hurt.
Definitely. I mean, I think you were talking about the Carnage crew and sort of setting it up as
just
not a label, but getting the fans involved and feeling like they can be part of something. And I think that's great. I'm all for that kind of thing.
It's hard to say, definitely merchandising a big deal, but I just want to teach. The reason I say it's not going to be like a label is more of I wanted to make sure artists get to the habit of investing in themselves and not expecting a label to fund everything, because obviously that turns into debt, so so it's just and it just gives them the wrong mindset. I think a lot of artists feel like they just gotta just put out songs, play shows, no marketing. Someone will discover them eventually is the mindset. And I just tell them, man, it's not the right mindset, really. You want to,
exactly,
especially this day and age, like no one's really going to really invest in you if they don't see you're doing it first, or if they don't feel like this.
Exactly. And the way that we're in this world of streaming now and how easy it is to release your own music independently. Mm-hmm. No record label is going to come and sign you if they hear some shit, poorly recorded freestyle you've uploaded to SoundCloud. No, they're not. They want to see that you're already doing, relative numbers by yourself. Like, this guy's got a buzz, this guy's got a fan base. Like, let's tap into that and see what we could do with them. Like,
it's all. You want to try and get the fan base first. And I mean, there's plenty of artists that I know that take it seriously. Like, they've got their own producer, or I know beat maker, so a little bit of both. And then, it's engineered. Some of these guys can even engineer themselves. Like, they've got the education and the equipment, and they just don't have the marketing, and they're just, or the fan base, it just hasn't hit yet. You know what I mean? So so for me, it's just like, I've got, like I said, I've got videographers, photographers, obviously graphic designers. I've got a few people who do, promoters, booking agents. Like, I've developed a nice department of resources that's kept me going, and I'm constantly looking. So it's like, I know there's something more. Web designer. I have my own web designer. I have a website. And artist development has not been a thing for a very long time. Like, labels don't do that anymore. They just find who's ever already viral. You know what I mean? So so I think a lot of up and coming artists who have a lot of passion and a lot of talent just don't get a whole lot of education and a whole lot of leadership. And I think leadership is kind of a thing I want to do here. And it's like, hey, And I have services where I actually handle everything for them. And like if someone needs a logo, I would contact you, bring back to them, hey, this is how much it charges. Here's like a example of what your logo will look like and stuff like that. So if they just don't have those social skills, like, man, I just want to make the music, but I don't have any type of brand or logo, then I can handle that for them as a service and stuff like that. So, but yeah, but the clothing part is the one I'm mostly focused on. So, and that logo is dope. So I think definitely gonna look good on some
I mean,
hats, some
yeah,
shirts, and
I
hoodies.
said this
So
to you the other day when I sent you that first draft of the logo. I think I said all I was trying to think was what would look sick on a t-shirt or a hoodie.
yeah,
And as soon as I made that, I was like, I want a t-shirt right now. I want a
yeah,
hoodie right now. I want a hat right now. I'm a sucker for merch, especially if it's something that I've had a
me
hand in
too.
creating.
Oh yeah, I love it. But I'll send you one. I'll figure out international shipping. So once we get those printed,
Well, I
I'll
mean,
I'll hook you up.
let me throw a shameless plug in there to a contact I've got over here. So Dream
Okay.
Design and Printing, Kaylee Leonard.
Yeah.
I use her for any sort of merch printing that I want. She's amazing. So, I can always source some. I can always source some merch internationally for my own personal
Right.
use.
Good deal. Good deal.
With your blessing, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Of course. Hell yeah. So anyway, man, we're about an hour and 27 minutes. So I think this has been a nice lengthy interview and chat, and been quite informative. Informative. I'm learning how to talk. So yeah, man, this has been great. And this is your first podcast, right? You told me that.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever been invited to anything like this.
This you seem very natural. So you could
I
have told me
mean,
you did a podcast.
in my day job, I spend my days on video calls to people I've never met before. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty natural at talking shit to a camera.
Right on, man. Well,
yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm excited to get working on some more stuff for Carnage Crew and some of the shows you've got coming up. So keep it coming. And yeah, if anybody's listening, needs any design work, hit me up, or speak to Had Enough. Let's chop it up and get to work.
Right on, right on. So I guess any last plugs? I know I'll for just since we're at the end of this, remind people kind of where they can contact you, and definitely you got a whole page of design. So if anyone feels like the designs you've done for me is just all you do, they can kind of see that you're actually pretty versatile. Like your stuff like looks clean, like the details of it.
Yeah,
Like
this is the thing. I like to be clean. I don't like too much going on. I don't like muddy designs. It's all simple stuff. I like very simple, clean designs. Again, though, it's a new page. It's not got everything on there. If anybody wants to see any of my work, just drop me a message. I'll be happy to show you some of the other, styles and vibes that I can work with. So no job too big or too small.
And you make beats as well. I mean, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Rappers are always looking for beats. And I think it's like I said, a lot of us get caught up in beat stars and YouTube and you know what I mean? So, and it's okay if obviously you can get exclusive beats from there if you don't want to mess with leases but for a lot of us, like a $500 or $600 beat is kind of tough because that's a lot of streams you need to make that back. And like I said, I've purchased beats from you before, and they're very very reasonable. So especially for
and I'm always down to work on custom beats, that kind of stuff. I'm always interested in working with new artists, building relationships with new artists out there from a production point of view or design point of view. So any questions about anything, or you just, interested in general, just hit me up, give me a shout, and we'll talk.
Hell yeah, man. All right, man. We'll go ahead and shut this down. Once again, appreciate it. I know we're in different time zones. Right now it's 3:32 here Central in America where I'm at. What time is it over there for you?
9:32 p.m. right now.
Nighttime. Wow.
Nighttime.
The world is so crazy how at the exact same time it's different. That's crazy, man. But I guess just to end this, like we were talking about the European tour. So I kind of I'm definitely going to venture out and to see who I can find, and hopefully at least for 4 days. I would definitely. It's definitely every American's musician's dream is to go overseas, even if you're doing like 3-4 shows. Like it's like, you know what I mean. So that's definitely on the bucket list. So I know Freddie just wants to come.
Yeah, make it happen. If you guys need a place to crash, if you're in the north in the UK,
yeah, definitely have to do UK. I mean, you and I got to meet at some point. You know what I mean? So
yeah, definitely,
whether the stars align, obviously we both enjoy a cold beer. So so that's but yeah, man. Definitely have to try and make that happen, man. So anyway, man, we'll go ahead and shut this down, man. But thank you again, and
thank you for having me.
Appreciate everybody that's been in the chat, and this will stay. Let everybody know this will remain on my Facebooks and on YouTube. So if you missed the stream, you can watch from the beginning. And feel free to comment, even though it's not on the stream, but it at least algorithm-wise kind of keeps the video relevant to whatever that means nowadays. So, all right, man. You have a good day or a good evening, actually.
Thanks, brother. Thanks, brother. Speak to you soon.
All right. And broadcast.